It's a new year, my birthday's in 2 days, and I'm excited. Last month, I began shifting my priorities, and that helped me come up with some new healthy writing habits. And I'm here to share them with you. Hopefully they'll inspire you to also take on healthy writing habits. Let's get started. Hey guys, Nour here and welcome back to my channel. For those visiting for the first time, hello! I'm the fantasy author of the novel Divinity Falling. If you haven't yet, be sure to subscribe for awesome writing advice videos. So first off, Happy New Year! So over the past year, I realized that I was feeling writer's burnout, but I kept powering on and just telling myself that I just needed to push through it. And it only got worse. I wasn't giving myself time to breathe and heal, and my creativity wasn't having it. Every time I sat down to write, I felt claustrophobic, which isn't something you want to feel when you're doing something you want to enjoy. It's almost like someone had trapped me in a cell and told me that if I ever want out, I'd have to write. It made me so tired, so I decided to step away from writing for a bit just to get some breathing room. I actually talked a bit about this in a video I posted a few months back. I was still writing, but I basically took a break from coming up with a story and trying to meet some sort of deadline. And honestly, when I think about it now, I think I gave up on writing. Or at least I gave up on my then idea of what it means to be a writer. You know, in order to be a serious writer, I need to be constantly writing the next book, and I should be working toward publishing. People want to read my story, so I should get that out as soon as possible. Obviously, this was all on a subconscious level, but it weighed me down. So when I let that idea go, I think I freed myself and allowed myself to go back to the starting point. Back when I used to write for the fun of it, and not with the idea that anyone would ever read my work. Also, changes in my life have helped me shift my priorities. Before, writing used to be at the top of my list. I wanted to become this great writer so badly, more than anything else. But lately, I've come to realize that I really don't care if anyone labels me as this great writer. Don't get me wrong, I do want to be a good, strong writer. But I also know that when I'm enjoying what I'm writing, that's all that matters. I fell for the craft because it freed me to put my emotions and thoughts down on paper. And I want that to continue being why I write. So if no one ever reads my stories ever again, I'm okay with that. I'm not writing with the intention of getting praise or becoming famous. Of course, it also helps that I'm no longer thinking about writing as my main career anymore. I have my own job that I do, and writing is something that I do in my free time because I enjoy it. It's more liberating and less stressful that way. Basically, there's less pressure to succeed. Okay, so I've rambled about what made me shift my priorities and why. So let me tell you about my new healthy writing habits. Basically, once I took a break from writing a book, I realized that my writing brain didn't just go quiet. My creativity didn't want to give up, even though I was burnt out and ready to give up. Instead, I started daydreaming about these fictional worlds and characters again, something I had been struggling with and forcing myself to do for a few years now. And with that, I let myself daydream and brainstorm without any pressure. I would even jot down my ideas. Whether they ended up in a story or not was totally okay. My main intention was to just have fun. And little by little, I realized that I was enjoying writing again. I didn't feel that claustrophobic feeling anymore when I sat down to write. So one of my new healthy writing habits is to simply write for me. As I brainstorm and then write, I'm not thinking about publishing the book. That's too far away in the process to think about right now. Before jumping to that, I first need to love the story I'm writing. So I'm just going with the flow and enjoying the writing process without worrying about what's going to happen next. For all I know, I might never publish this book and never have a single person read it. In fact, I might never publish a book ever again, and that's totally okay. If I do, great. And if I don't, then I'm still having a good time. There's something very liberating about thinking that way. It goes back to those first stories I ever wrote when I didn't think anyone would read my words. And I loved writing when I used to think that way. Another healthy writing habit that I'm bringing with me into this new year is writing when I feel like it rather than forcing it. I know we often say write all the time and have a consistent writing schedule. And while I agree that it's important to write often in order to become a better writer, I'm beginning to understand that it's also okay to take writing breaks for the sake of your mental health. So I don't force myself to write anymore. And that's actually making me want to write more often. Taking healthy breaks didn't make me lazy to write. The freedom to write only when I feel like it has made me enjoy the process more and want to write anytime my schedule allows it. Again, this also ties into removing all sorts of pressures that I previously associated with writing. By allowing myself to think of writing not as a job but as a fun activity, my life has become better. Now, I know this isn't for every writer. Everyone has different goals and priorities, and I get that. For some writers, this is their main career, so they can't just do it as a side hobby. So that's totally understandable. But do consider freeing yourself from the pressures of writing and just diving into it with fun in mind. Don't worry about your readers, the publishing process, or any of that. Just write for the fun of it because you really enjoy the story in your head. Honestly, that's made me feel more courageous to write than forcing myself to write. And it might help you too. So that's all I have for you today. Now that it's a new year, I'd love to know, what are your New Year's resolutions, writing and non-writing related? Let me know in the comments. If you're new to my channel, be sure to subscribe. I put out writing advice videos that will take your story to the next level. Also, don't forget to follow me on social media to see what I'm up to from day to day and to chat with me. And before we go, I just want to give a quick shout out to Sarah Frayne, Alan J. Early, and Noah Kovanzi from my shout out tier over on Patreon, as well as all my amazing patrons. Thank you all so much for your support. I really appreciate you. And remember, Nour for president.